heard of America's Most Wanted out of Michigan, and they're putting Hellcats and supercharged V8s and JLs, Gladiators. They've been around for a while. We've had quite a few of them come through the shop. One of our customers, TJ, has a supercharged version, one of the earlier ones. Pretty awesome Gladiator. You know, had some bugs that needed to be worked out. Well, this is a 2025. This is a 606 Gladiator, so it's got a 426 Hemi, naturally aspirated, meaning just injected without a supercharger. And this is kind of our out-of-the-box test drive on it. It's a good customer of ours. We didn't do any build work on it. We just kind of did a nut and bolt check because he's got 900 miles on it. Actually, 1,238 miles now. And we're just kind of looking it over for him, make sure that we feel like everything was done up to par. And to be honest with you, after looking it over, this thing is legit. Like, AMW is starting to get everything dialed in, and these are awesome. And then some. I mean, every time you get on it in a V8 JL, V8 Gladiator, whether it's supercharged or not, I mean, we got 600 horsepower here, 42-inch tires, and here we are, we're going down the freeway, and I'm going 75 right now, and that's one finger on the steering wheel. There's not a shimmy, there's not a shake. Very, very similar to how the builds that we let out of our shop drive and ride. This one happens to have the coil-over package, front and rear. It's got Fox 2.5 coilovers, and a lot of times you'll hear a bunch of creaking and popping and squeaking out of the coilovers. You'll get a crappy ride out of them because the spring rate's not dialed in, the valving's not dialed in. You know, everything about this truck and just getting in it and driving it is at the highest level. And you know, I wish we had built this one, but obviously we didn't, so I'm just kind of, oh yeah, sorry neighbors. So PSC Hydro Assist, one finger on windy roads. Brakes are awesome, huge brakes on these axles. This is the 8-lug package. Steering, let's see how sharp this goes. Steering, oh yeah, extremely sharp steering. Like all the ergonomics inside. This is a 25, so it has the big screen, even has your old phone mount right there. Has a switch pros right up here on the left to control while you're driving, but otherwise it just feels like a brand new original vehicle right from the dealership, and there couldn't be more things touched on this. You're talking engine, transmission, transfer case, axles, brakes, cooling, interior package. Every single thing has been touched by AMW, and that leaves a lot open to screw up in doing that. The more things you touch, the more chance you have of problems. And from what I can tell, sorry Mike, there goes a little bit of those 42's right there. There's nothing like laying it down through 3 gears, getting on the highway, and right there we're already past that guy, you know. There's 90 miles an hour right now. So very smooth accelerating, very comfortable to drive, something you want to get in every day. I guess the only thing you don't like is the fact that right now it's averaging 7.5 miles to the gallon, but you know, you can't really put a mileage on how excited it makes you feel when you're driving it. So I think 7.5 miles to the gallon over the 12 and the 392 is, I'd still take it, let me tell you. We're gonna pull off up here, go up behind the shop. I'm gonna get out and kind of walk you through all of the little details that AMW does to these things. But you know, right off the bat, I'm telling you, they knocked it out of the park with this one. Well, this is it. This is Mike's 2025 AMW 606 Gladiator. And I can tell you, I think it was worth the wait. Everybody asks, is it worth it to buy a vehicle built from AMW? Are you getting your bang for the buck for how expensive it is? And you know, my feeling is, I think they're dead on. They built such a cohesive package here from start to finish. I've driven it, I've looked through it extensively, and we really like what we see on this thing. So let me show you around it from our standpoint. Even though we built absolutely nothing on this vehicle at WFO, all we did was a nut and bolt check and looked through everything, took it for a drive. Let me show you what AMW has to offer. We're going to start in the back, work our way up to the front because that's where the fun stuff is. So right away you will notice this has a bobbed bed. This is a factory bed that's been bobbed 10 inches. It is classic, it looks original, it looks awesome. I mean, right here where it's been bobbed, you cannot see anything but the mud and dirt that flew up on it because it rained yesterday. Even the top looks good. We pop open the back here, and any of the Line-X and interior metal stuff, can't even tell where they cut and shortened this bed. This bed has been shortened 10 inches. The cover's been shortened 10 inches. It's been put all back together. The frame's been cut off, and almost looks original, like it came bobbed, right? So bobbed bed, 10 inches off, AMW's custom rear bumper package, and then because we cut the bed, we're wondering, you know, what do we do with a spare tire underneath there? Well, check that out. That is an external fuel tank, and with 7.5 miles a gallon, you definitely need that. Up front there, you can see that's the stock fuel tank. So all this is an external fuel tank with a lift pump that then pumps it into the stock tank when you run out. So it's not dual fuel pumps, dual fuel systems, it just refills the stock tank. I think that's really smart to keep it clean and not add extra pumps and extra fuel stuff for like an engine switch. The bumper even has the backup sensors in it, and I backed this thing up, drove it quite a bit. The sensors are working great on it. Tow package still on it, so you can still tow with this thing. I mean, you might as well. It's got 606 horsepower. I guess we did talk about the rear end when we were underneath here. So this is their 8-lug package from AMW, and I believe that is a Dana 80 rear end in there that has high clearance and a custom housing. But it's 8 piston calipers, front and rear, huge brakes on this thing. This has the Teraflex long arm kit on it with coilovers. So as you can see, Fox 2.5-inch coilovers, has compression, high speed and low speed adjustment. And then when AMW has this thing completely stripped to the frame, they beef up the rear coilover mounts to hold the weight. While you're right here, you can see the Teraflex long arm, and down at the axle you can see that they've changed it to Heim joints down on the axle instead of bushings. And then if you sneak right around in the back, you can see back here a Fox air bump hanging down from underneath the frame. And I like this. See how it only has about inch and a quarter of up travel? What that does is if you come and you bottom out hard, this will catch and stop you, but you're not going to hear it popping and banging all the time with 4 inches of travel hitting on the axle. While you're right there, you can see the sway bar in here. So aftermarket rear sway bar, aluminum arms hooked up to that Dana 80. This thing happens to have 538 gears in it and air lockers front and rear. While you're looking at the rear end here, you can see Nemesis high clearance fenders, and then the inner fenders as well, all relabeled AMW. And you can also see the single 3.5-inch exhaust sticking out the back. So it has a custom exhaust all the way front to rear from AMW. So they basically stripped this thing all the way down to the bare frame. It started as a 2025 V6 Rubicon Gladiator. V6 came out, body came off, transmission came out, transfer case came out, went all the way down to bare frame. Then they start building it back up. So every single piece of this vehicle has been touched, put back together in a great way from what we can see. So out there on the highway, dead smooth, 70, 80 miles an hour. This is our first time using the BFG 42-inch KM3s on a 17-inch rim. What a killer tire. And then this is the Battleborn beadlock rim as well.
the verdict was out whether we were going to like the 42-inch KM3s, and I'll tell you what, the tread pattern's a little narrow. They're a little rounded, but that's what makes them drive really, really nice. I think this is going to be a great option. The Nittos are cool, but the BFGs, right there with them as well. As you work your way up, of course, rock slide engineering steps with the AMW branded rocker protection. If you're buying a vehicle like this, you need to be able to get your wife, your kids, your family in and out. The only way to go is the rock slide engineering steps. And these can smash the rocks, go on the Rubicon, all that as well. So underneath here you can see the Teraflex long arm kit right here, going back to that Dana 80. Look underneath as well. You see full skid plates, front to rear, aluminum, and those are our tech that are custom made and made to work with all the AMW suspension, engine, exhaust, all that stuff. Very, very cohesive. Of course, it has 1410 rear CV, 1350 front CV. Awesome setup for all the horsepower. And one thing I didn't mention is that when they put the V8 and the transmission in, it still has the Rubicon transfer case in this one. So this is a little unique because 392s keep a 2.72 ratio on their transfer case, and this one has the 4:1 ratio of the Rubicon. I played with it a little bit out here. Let me tell you, in first gear, it crawls. And with the 8-piston calipers and the upgraded brakes, there's still enough braking power to keep it from driving through with that 4:1 Rubicon case. So I think that's going to be really cool for him when he's using this thing to have that low range. Most of the fun is going to happen in high range with the 8-speed, and we'll get to that in a little bit, what we did there. So as we move up front, again, America's Most Wanted badging everywhere. On the hood, the AMW 606, here on the side of the Jeep. So the Nemesis high clearance front fenders with their inner fender wells. Very important to have this fender well clear the 42-inch tire back here in the back of the wheel opening, and it does that well. 2.5-inch Fox coilovers with compression adjusters on it. And much like the rear setup, as you look, the Fox bump stops only have about 1.5 inches of up travel right there. And that is unique so that you don't hear it popping and banging every time that bump stop hits the pad down here. So another unique thing is this coilover shock right here. So if you look at that Fox 2.5-inch shock, right here in the bottom there's this metal can, and right inside the coil there's a rubber bump there. So what that is basically an over-the-shaft bump stop that's really tall, about 3.5 inches long, and that can supports it at the bottom of the shock. So when you hit something really hard, that's the initial nice soft rubber bump before you hit that air bump at the top. While we're looking down here, you can see the front control arms have FK Heims added to them instead of the standard Teraflex rubber bushings on them. Make it just a little bit stronger. Once again, 1350 front driveline, and that's a Dana 60 front axle, high clearance, and those big brakes on there as well. 1550 axle shafts, really nice setup. As you work your way forward, some of the little details like more AMW in the locking hubs. I like that it's this flat black off color, really unique like that. Then you got your aluminum front sway bar up here. And you know, I think this is a big deal. So we've been having problems with the electronic Rubicon sway bars auto connecting back up once you get up over speed. And I think we can all agree that most of the fun you're going to have in this Jeep is 20 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour, ripping through the desert, hitting the trails way too fast, maybe jumping it a little bit, getting on it. And you can't afford to have that sway bar disconnecting and connecting due to the computer. So by going to full-time front and rear sway bars, getting rid of the electronic disconnect sway bar, I think was key by AMW. And we do that a lot in our Jeep packages as well when we get to this level. People would ask, does this thing have too much body roll on the highway? The answer is no. I drove this thing on windy roads, hard, hooked it into corners. With the valving, the spring rate, and the 2 sway bars, it is actually really fun. Not too much body roll at all. And then as you get up to the front of this thing, by adding that sway bar in the front, there's no frame fangs hanging down, so they did a frame chop, and it's super simple. This front bumper, pretty high profile, Obviously, Baja Designs lights everywhere, Warren winch, Factor 55 Fairlead, Factor 55 Ultra Hook, synthetic. You know, everything's kind of thought out on this thing. So underneath here, once again, high pinion 60, ARB locker, 538s, has PSC Hydro assist on it, and this is the 1.75" ram, or sorry, 1.5" ram on there. So what that does is that gets you a lot better steering feel going down the highway, and the Yeti steering, Yeti drag link, Yeti tie rod on here. Very, very cohesive, everything working really well. Of course, for lighting, you got rock lights underneath, Baja Designs, and then right here you got 2 LP6s, you have 2 LP4s, and then you have 8 more squadrons up top on the light bar. So this thing lights it up like you can't even imagine. Well, before I open the hood, I mean, even things like this, look at those headlights. They say AMW 8 lug right on them inside the headlights. Pretty cool details. So before this opens up, this was a standard Rubicon Gladiator, right? So they go with a 392 hood, cool carbon graphic, not a 392, but a 426 Hemi in there. And most people will just have the hood, but not have the cold air intake hooked up. Well, guess what? This has all the factory 392 air intake coming into this air box. And it is an aftermarket filter and air box, but still right down in here into the engine. So you look at this engine and a little dust on it there, right? But 426 Hemi. So here's what's going on. AMW is buying a brand new 392 engine transmission package and immediately tearing it apart and turning it into a 7-liter, putting a new rotating assembly in it, forged crank, forged pistons, basically making it into 606 horsepower instead of what, 470 is the 392, I believe. So other than, you know, redoing the internals, this is basically factory 392 everywhere else on the motor. And as you look underneath the hood, you realize that everything is factory wiring. Like nothing's really been added on. It doesn't look like it was an aftermarket company doing the work. It looks like it was actually done from the factory. So battery box, fuse panels, washer bottles, you know, computer, everything under the hood looks original. With the exception, you can see right here, aluminum radiator sticking up. So I actually believe that AMW has a better cooling stack than the factory does, like on a 392. So the cooling stack, in my opinion, is really impressive, clean, fits in there nice. I really do like that. While we're under the hood, we can see this Switch Pros module right there. And when we get to the inside, we'll show you what that does inside. But that's really the only thing custom or aftermarket besides just an aftermarket airbox and air cleaner underneath the hood of this thing. So I'm closing the hood up and I realize what's missing. Normally we'd have the PSC reservoir over here, the line going across, but it has this little plastic fill plug right here, and that is a factory style can on the pump with an engine driven power steering pump. So I'm actually not sure if that's actually a PSC pump and that's just a stock Dodge pump running the system, but I'll tell you what, with the steering box, it drives bitchin'. So they're 8-lug axle package, 538 gears, ARBs. So as we get to the inside, why don't you open that door and I'll go around to the other side. So once again, the interior looks all original, but looks kind of high end. So to start with, that steering wheel, full custom steering wheel. AMW puts that on there, carbon fiber. It's thicker, it's got the red line to ensure you're going straight. It's just a nice steering wheel. I will say in driving this thing that the heat and AC vents, when you got the AC on in the 2025 and these newer dashes, blows way better than the early Jeeps. So that is kind of nice. The seats, AMW, they say 606 on them, so full custom seats. Shifters, right on top of the shifters right here. A little bit different logos as well. And then right up there to your left, to the left of the steering wheel is where you see the Switch Pro buttons, and that's going to run all your lighting. It's going to run your front locker, your rear locker. And while you're right there, if you look at the gauges are even custom inside the dash. They say AMW as well, which is really kind of cool. While you're there up at the steering wheel, I will tell you one thing, that with this aftermarket steering wheel, it seems the paddle shifters are kind of in a little bit different spot, and they don't get in your way when you're driving it. So I really like that. The factory Rubicon one, it seems like the 392 one, it seems like I bump my hands on it all the time and catch it. So if you look down right there on the side of the seat, you will see that there is a air up chuck right there. So this has the Kraken air up system, and that's on each side of the front seats. Click into that thing, air up your tires immediately. It's got a dual ARB compressor jammed underneath the seat on this side of the vehicle, and it is the new brushless twin ARB. Pretty awesome. Underneath that seat, there's 3 little boxes, which is the stereo amplifiers, because not only did this get seat package, interior upgrades, but it also got a bigger stereo. So look in the back here, and once again, back seats, AMW engraved, 606 on the seats. But if we fold this seat forward here, so we fold the seat forward here, and you can kind of see speakers and stereo right there behind the back seat, give you a little bit of extra bump, you know. And if I can lift, oh, here we go. And of course, underneath the seat, there's those speakers underneath the seat as well. So got to have the good tunes, right? And while we're here, I'll move this back up. This is your Kraken air up hoses. Comes in a bag, all ready to go from them. And then as you can see right here, there's just the back of the ARB air compressor tucked underneath the seat, the new twin air brushless. One other thing I forgot to mention about the interior, which is actually the best part about the interior, is if you look in at the floor mat goes all the way up inside. So this is AMW's signature vinyl floor mat, and it's not just the floor. It goes all the way up inside and covers everything. So you spill your soda in here, you're not getting any of the carpet wet. It's fully covered and can be wiped down completely. As far as the factory switches in here for your lockers, this is something we changed ourselves. We knew that a lot of people are driving these things in high range all the time and want the lockers. You want to do donuts, you want to get on it, you want a 4-wheel without being in low range. And that's one of the downfalls of the Rubicons, is that the lockers don't work when you're in high range. So no longer does the locker button work here. The only thing working here is the Off-Road Plus button, and we've moved the lockers up to that Switch Pro up there so that you can use it at any speed in high range and low range. So if you keep looking around this thing, everywhere you look, you see something different. We even forgot to tell you it's got rock lights underneath it that light it up. You just keep on looking and finding new things. Like this switch right here is a switch you hit if you don't want the steps to come out while you're 4-wheeling and hit the rocks. It actually has a engine kill switch hidden in the vehicle as well that comes from AMW. So all your buddies are going to want to drive it. People want to come over to your house and drive it when you're not there. There's a secret switch hidden on these things. Turns off the ignition, nobody else can drive it. I thought that was really unique. One of the other things I thought was unique is instead of hooking the differential lockers to the air compressor that's under the seat, they hit a single small ARB compressor under the hood, and that compressor just runs the lockers. So you have 2 separate systems, one for airing up, one for locking the differentials. Of course, it has a taser in it, fully programmed, no lights on the dash, no traction control, push button start still working. It really has that feel of a from the dealer, brand new, anything you could ever want on your vehicle build. And that is not easy to achieve. and I think AMW has done it. You know, of course, I want you to come have us build your Jeep at WFO, but when it comes to this setup, just really, really clean, nice Jeep. Mike, good move. Love driving it. Thanks for showing it to us. Hope you guys liked it.